I cry out to God, seeking only his decision. Gabriel stands and confirms, I've created my own prison. Today, on My Own Podcast, we break down My Own Prison. Hello, my friend. We meet again. Welcome to My Own Podcast, the only Creed podcast that we know of. My name is Andrew Colin, and with me, as always, is my co-host, Reid Fenlaw. What's up, Reid?
What's up, playa?
That's one way to address another human.
Hey, buddy. I'm good. How are you?
Good. How'd you spend your day with the solar eclipse?
Yeah. So if you're listening to this whenever, today there was a solar eclipse, so you know today is April 8th.
Instantly dated the episode.
2024. I went out onto my balcony and looked up at the sun without any glasses on, and I tried to take photos of the sun.
Did you do that former part?
I couldn't. Yeah, but I was like,
oh, you put your hand in front of it.
From an angle was like, I wasn't staring directly at it. I was like, the sun was here, and my eyes were here. Then I was like, stealing glances.
Yeah, like shyfully, playfully looking at it like, oh, hey, Mr. Sun.
I was flirting with the eclipse.
Okay. Well, as long as you didn't hurt yourself, I'm glad to see that your eyes seem to be working for now.
For now. Although I did learn something on the news today because I had like coverage of it because I wanted to see where it was like in totality, and it was David Muir, like one of the hosts of the ABC show, was covering it. It was like his co-host at some point like forgot to put her glasses back on when it cleared, after the totality was done. It's like, you can take them off to look at it when it's fully eclipsed.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, because they were all, but then like as soon as it starts to move again,
put it back on. And
she forgot to put them back on. He reminded her, and he was like, yeah, it's dangerous because our retinas or cones or whatever part of the eyes don't feel pain. Oh, so weird. You don't know, like you'll be like, oh, that's bright, but it's not, you can't feel it like frying your eyes.
Jeez, that's scary.
Yeah.
I feel like I could always feel that stuff frying my eyes because I'm very sensitive.
You're a special boy.
I am.
You're my special boy.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
I know you had glasses, so
I did.
You went outside and looked at it.
I went to 3 places to find solar eclipse glasses because I saw yesterday that Warby Parker, I guess, was giving them out for free, but didn't have the wherewithal to grab them yesterday. So I drove back, and they're like, we're out. So then I went to a nearby grocery store. They're like, we're out, but this other grocery store has them. And they did. And I was like, the lady, I just asked because I couldn't find where they would be, like, do you have any of those solar eclipse glasses? And she's like, yeah.
She's like, you idiot.
Yeah, and then I'm like, oh, are they free? She's like, I don't care. Just take it.
So she just gave them to you?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like they have today's date on the pair that you bought.
Exactly. So, like, a second it goes, like, after today, those don't retail for very much.
Yep. Nothing.
Well, eclipse aside, Reid, today is a monumental episode for many reasons.
Yeah.
One, let's start with the obvious. It's My Own Prison.
The song.
The namesake of the podcast. Yeah. It's not quite our first single, but it is our first, I would say, mega hit. I think that's safe to say.
Yeah.
But more than that, Reid, it's our first pod in our new podcast home.
Look at us.
Look at us.
We did it.
We have our own little space that's just for us now.
We built it.
Really, we did. We ordered all this crap off Amazon and just smacked it together with a bunch of cardboard and tape. So
if something falls, do not be alarmed.
It won't hurt us. It has the weight of probably under 5 pounds.
Yeah. Our heads are resistant to up to 7 pounds.
That's a scientific fact.
Yeah.
Well, we're excited to see how the space continues to grow as we continue to decorate it, get some Creed memorabilia, which is pretty hard to come by. Mm-hmm. But we're going to work our way. Yeah.
It's coming.
It's in the works.
There'll be something up here soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're still working on what that will be, but it's going to be epic. That's for sure.
Overpromise, but okay.
As long as you don't overpay.
That's cool. Dude, do you know, before we really get into it, because I have some facts.
Yeah, you got a lot
to know about the song.
Yeah.
This was the first Creed song that I ever heard.
Wow. That's huge.
Yeah.
How do you remember? Do you remember specifically?
I do remember specifically that it was the first song I heard. I don't remember where I was. I know I was in high school.
Okay.
I was a sophomore or junior in high school. And I remember it being on the radio on 101X in the morning on the way to school. And I was like, this is a jam.
101X in the morning. That was my own prison.
That's honestly not too far.
Oh, hell yeah.
They just said 101X a little faster. They're like, sign up was 101X.
Ooh, that's very like provocative.
101X.
I like it. Well, do you remember having like any impressions of the song, or were you like, that was cool?
No, I was like instantly, I wanted to buy the CD instantly. There was still CD. This is CDs, okay, obviously.
We didn't have MP3s all the time.
So what, 97?
Yeah, the year I was born.
No, I instantly wanted the CD, and I probably bought it, not long after it actually came out. I don't know if it was out yet when the whole CD was out, when the single was released.
Oh, yeah, I don't know the history of it.
We should.
We should be on that.
I do have some other facts about the song.
Do you want to share them with me now? Do you want to get into it?
I want to. Do you have other things that you'd like to work out first?
I think I talked about in the first episode that my first exposure to Creed was mostly through Human Clay. So I think I probably discovered my own prison when I was doing my own like journey into discovering who Creed was. Like I'd probably heard the big singles from Human Clay. I was like, what else do they got? They have another record. And then I heard it, but I really, really liked the song. I just can't remember the first time I heard it.
Well, yeah. And I was of age to be making my own decisions about what music I buy with my allowance.
Smoking cigs and listening to Creed.
Dude, I was ripping darts and listening to Creed.
What a life.
Actually, I wasn't ripping darts.
Is that a way is that smoking?
Yeah.
I never heard that.
Just ripping some darts.
It just makes me think of playing darts.
Yeah. You can rip them too.
Sick.
What do you associate this song with? If there's anything, like, is it a person? Is it just that general time when you discovered it? Is there, like, what you hear this song, you hear the first, like, the guitar riff to open it.
Yeah.
And, like, what do you think? What is it? What are you transported?
Man, I wish I had like a really specific memory associated with the song, but like when I do hear that opening riff, I'm like, this is so fucking Creed, just like, I don't know, that opening riff is instantly like gives off that vibe of like an epic Creed song, because it's one of those songs also that starts pretty slow and then just begins ripping by the chorus, and then by the time you get to the bridge, it's just like, it's like a whole new song. So, yeah, I don't know. It doesn't make me think of like a person. It just makes, whenever I hear it, I really think of that album cover though, for some reason.
Of him, the crouch down.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because I feel like that
iconic.
It also conveys the feeling of the song to me. Like someone, we'll get more into it, but like I think of like someone trapped in their own mind.
Yeah. It's like they're in the corner of like a concrete prison cell.
Yeah.
The album.
Yeah, that just like flashes to the front of my mind, like the album artwork.
We should put that up on screen. There it was. Yeah, I'm transported back into like my childhood bedroom. I had a big like home stereo system in my bedroom. There's that 5 CD changer.
Fucking look at you, dude.
Dude, I was balling.
You know what I had in my room? Like
porn?
No, I wish.
Oh, yeah, me
like
too.
Freaking Zelda posters and a stormtrooper helmet, but like nothing in the way of I want to hang out here. Like it was cool decor, but like
nothing in the way of any girl would ever want to hang out in there.
Yeah.
He wasn't having sex with girls in that room.
No.
I mean, I guess I wasn't either.
Yeah. You don't.
But I could have.
That's not the measure of a person.
I had like a sports posters.
Sports posters?
No, multiple.
Like Deion Sanders?
No, I think I had a Mark McGuire, a pre-steroid Mark McGuire. Don't do steroids.
That's classic. Like, I like baseball.
I did.
I know, but that wasn't like your team. When did he play for the St. Louis?
I just he was on the A's at that point.
Even more random.
I know.
You're from
I
Texas.
just liked Mark McGuire.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, the baseball's cool. Did you have a Sammy Sosa poster right next to it?
That is how we talk there.
Yeah, that's what
baseball, that's cool, man.
That's how I still talk.
half Harry Carey, half cattle rancher.
Just
Hi, baseball.
Mark McGuire's my favorite player.
Because him and Jose Canseco were super popular. They were the Bash Brothers.
And Sammy Sosa.
Yeah,
Remember
okay, McGuire and Canseco were even pre-Sosa.
Gotcha.
God, we could go down a horrible and lengthy sidetrack because I used to collect. I was a fanatic about collecting baseball cards as a
I didn't
kid.
know that.
So like, that's why I know I mark these players by like when I had their cards and what set their cards came from.
Do you still have that?
I whittled down my collection from probably like 20,000 cards to about 200 cards because my parents were moving out of the house that I grew up in. So
I remember you telling me about that now.
Yeah.
I had the same thing, but with Pokemon cards.
Neither of us. Girls hated both of us.
But we're richer because of the cards we experienced.
Are we?
No, I lost most of them.
It's the cards you got along the way that counts.
That's exactly what my mom used to say.
Yep. Oh, Carol. Hi, Carol.
Don't do that.
Sorry.
Yep. Okay. Well, Reid, I wanted to address that this episode is also a little different because up until now, I've been the primary person running point on the facts and leading the discourse of the song. This time I'm coming in blind. You did all the background research, and I'm excited to have only my preconceived notions going into this and no research done.
I mean, I'm sure you could assume this, but there is just an overload of information on this song.
Right, especially
so much so that I have facts that run A through L.
That's like the
and
12th letter of the alphabet.
And I had to trim. I was making cuts.
Dang.
Like this could have been a 3-hour episode.
Well, we don't want that.
No, we don't. No, neither do you.
I mean, I could do it, but I don't think anyone would want to listen to it that long.
I listened to a over 3 hour Andrew Huberman episode recently.
He's the brain guy.
Yeah, it's fascinating stuff, man.
Brains are tight.
Fascinating. It's not just brains, but he is like a brain doctor, whatever. What are those called?
Neurosurgeon, neuroscientist.
He's a neuroscientist at Stanford.
You got to know your brains.
It's good.
Have brains.
Good shit in there, man.
Well, with all that said, dude, let's start ripping facts at me.
Cool.
Like, do you want to start with the lyrics, or are we gonna? You have some background information.
I'm gonna spit. I have some lyric specific facts, but I have some also more general ones that I'd like you to just like. I just want to bounce them off you, man. See how they make you feel.
Dribble them.
Okay, let's dribble.
Dribble them on my sternum.
Great. My Own Prison, dog. Mm-hmm. Lyrics completely by Scott.
Oh, okay.
Music was by Mark on this one.
Gotcha.
This song, the My Own Prison album, was not the first album it appeared on. This was initially featured on a compilation album called Locals Only by radio station WXSR.
WXSR 101X
Rocks. In Quincy, Florida, which is about 25 miles outside of Tallahassee, but broadcasts there.
Rad.
So as they were trying to break through their tiny little local scene, that was like a big deal.
For sure.
Like it's like being on a local version of Now That's What I Call Music 47.
Yeah, or like putting it on a YouTube page and getting 800,000 views.
Yeah, both of those.
I understand.
So I thought that was pretty cool.
That must have been like a huge breakthrough for them. That must have been really cool.
The first time they heard it on the radio, they were at Daniel Tremonti's house, Mark's brother.
Okay.
Hanging out with some lovely ladies from Florida State University.
Go Seminoles.
Seminoles? No, Seminoles, not Sentinels.
Go Seminoles.
Just say go Knowles.
Go Knowles?
Yeah. Yeah, they were chilling with some girls. And I'm sure we're like, hey, that's us.
And they're probably like, yeah, right.
This girl's like, we're leaving. There's frat boys waiting for us.
That's what everyone at FSU does, is what I'm told.
Yeah.
That would be surreal. I mean, they must have known it was about to come on, right?
I would assume that's why they had the girls over.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, yeah, your guys' song's going to play between 7 and 8. Like, cool. We'll invite the hottest chicks we know. We'll talk about the song and be like, oh, let's just turn on the radio right now.
Anyone down to listen to WXSR in the morning?
WXSR 101X 101X.
That's awesome.
Yeah, cool. Also, you aren't going to believe this because, well, you might. We've talked at length, I believe, in the first episode about Mark working at Chili's. He's a cook at Chili's.
Yes, extensively, I would say.
Still Chili's sponsor us.
We love
Sponsor us.
everything you have to offer.
This is actually meant to hold just entrees from Chili's, but we don't have any.
That's a great idea.
Yep.
Every single Chili's swag we get will be put on display in our little box, as we call it.
We love you. We love you.
And bring back the awesome blossom. Continue.
Please bring it back. Bring it back. So Scott Stapp, you may know this but we haven't talked about it. I feel like you would have talked about it. Scott Stapp was working as a cook at another fast casual restaurant, Ruby Tuesday.
Yeah,
where they were writing this album.
I think I mentioned that in the last episode for Ode.
Okay, well then
I think he was a server.
Fucking cut it out, man.
No, I'll include it.
No, just don't.
I think he was a server during his time between getting kicked out of his first college and then waiting tables, kind of trying to figure out what he wanted to do next before he returned to college with Mark. And I remember he said something about in the book, his memoir, like, I think he like got kicked out by the dean, right, for smoking weed at like the Christian university.
Remember that?
And then I think he had to serve the dean at the restaurant, and he was like, "Fucking, it sucked."
He probably teabagged his.
I think that's a sanitary violation. So
yeah, it definitely is, but you don't think it happens in restaurants?
I'd like to think not.
You ever sent food back at a restaurant?
I'm sure I have in my life.
Something was probably done to it.
That's a bummer.
Not necessarily someone's testicles.
I hope not.
On your arugula salad, but like.
So I'm going to talk to our friends. They work in food service, so they'll let me know if that actually happens.
I mean, I worked in coffee shops for 2 years.
That's true.
We used to
dip your balls in iced coffee.
Yeah, I wish, dude. That would have felt so good.
Maybe. Not really.
Dude, I'm going to do that. I have iced coffee at home. I'm going to dip my balls in it tomorrow morning.
Yeah, your girlfriend will just be like,
can you absorb caffeine through your balls?
This
is the new cold plunge. It's just dipping your balls in iced coffee.
First, there was iced coffee. Then there was cold brew. Then there was cold balls.
I have started sunning my testicles.
Yeah, you've told this to me already. But thanks for like promoting it in front of an audience.
No problem.
Yep.
Okay. This song is obviously the third track on My Own Prison.
Yep. Good one. Good fact.
Yep. This is kind of a general fact, but I found it fascinating because this song is the first song that I think of for Creed, because it was the first one I was exposed to.
Right. There
was actually a song that they wrote that was never released called Grip My Soul. You heard of this?
No, I have not.
It was never released, and in fact, it was never even recorded.
Ooh.
Why is that important or noteworthy?
You tell me.
Scott himself credits Grip My Soul as being a song that helped the band discover their sound.
Oh, that's awesome.
So I kind of wish they would, now that they're fully back,
right,
record and release that song.
I mean, like, what if it stinks? I guess they could rework it.
Dude, yeah.
But is anything exist from that song that you can find on the internet?
Can't find anything other than little snippets about basically
title.
Just that. Yeah. That it's called Grip My Soul.
It probably went something like this. Give me 5 seconds.
Go ahead.
Grip my soul and tell me I'm dying.
That's offensively terrible.
Well, one day when we have Scott on the pod, he'll tell us if I was accurate.
Okay, deal. Scott, we're waiting.
Still waiting.
We're waiting. This album, or this song and the album, were recorded for a total of $6,000.
Is that the whole album or just the song?
The whole album.
That's pretty cheap, right?
It's extremely
really
cheap.
Yeah,
extremely cheap. They were Recorded in a guy's house, they knew, who had all the equipment, but the equipment was in his house. They're like, we'll just record there.
Was his name Martin?
I don't know.
Okay.
Why?
I don't know.
It was a good guess.
Came to mind.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Pretty smart. So they recorded, they were like different things in different rooms of this house.
That's
like
cool.
Scott said that he was recording vocals at one point in this guy's kid's room between two beds.
Is that a felony?
Nope. The
Okay.
kids were not there, and he's not doing anything weird, dude. They were making classic music.
Good.
Other parts were recorded in a hallway of the house and even a bathroom of the house.
Bathroom, I understand, because that's from what I've heard from my music-oriented friends. Like, that's great acoustics, but I don't understand the logic behind moving around so much.
I think it was that the house was so cramped they couldn't all fit in. They just were like, cool, we're going to set up the drums in the hallway. The vocal booth will be in the kid's bedroom, and then like guitars, like they're just working with what they had.
Right, that makes sense.
So $6,000 for the album. Isn't that nuts?
We should record an album for $6,000.
We're doing it.
We haven't spent that much.
Spoken word.
I hope we don't spend that much.
I bought some things with your credit card.
Oh, goodness me.
Mostly just pizzas.
Hell yeah.
But I had them delivered to other people.
Just out of the goodness of your heart?
As a prank. But then I realized I'd already paid for them, so the only prank was that they had a pizza they didn't know was coming.
It's a great day to be pranked. Anyway, any other facts you got for me before we get to the heart and soul of it?
I do. Just a couple. The song, the last figure I could find was the song has been streamed over 70 million times on Spotify.
Okay, just on Spotify.
Yep, just on Spotify. And Scott says that the song came to him in his sleep. This isn't going to give away meaning, but it's it's teetering up to it. He says he woke up in the middle of the night and essentially wrote out a dream he was having, not intending or knowing it would end up a song, much less the title track or one of their biggest hits.
I love that. Do you ever get like creatively inspired while sleeping or in the night?
I do.
I do too.
My problem is I don't have my body or brain will not wake up to write things down. It'll wake up and be like, oh, that's cool.
What was
and
it
then
again?
I'm just instantly asleep. And in the morning, I'm like, man, I thought of something really cool in the middle of the night. No damn clue what it is.
That's happened to me before too, with like jokes that I want to write and remember. But lately it's been happening in a good way. Like I remember it. I like write out a little bit of like, for material I'm writing for like a pilot or something. It just like, I think of it at night kind of while I'm like half asleep, half awake. And I just like, it sticks with me.
You don't write it down in the moment and you still remember?
I'm like not a writer downer.
She's got a better brain than I do.
I have a good brain.
I did too many whippets.
What's that again?
It's where you suck in nitrous oxide.
From like a whipped cream canteen?
Yeah.
Do you get any whipped cream with it?
No.
I'm out.
I mean, you could.
Yes, please.
I'm going to do an episode where we do whippets.
Only if it involves eating whipped cream and something
It's so dumb.
with that whipped cream.
You're only like, you're high for like 60 seconds from doing a whippet.
That sounds awful.
Just, it's really funny. Great.
And with that, that's the last fact?
That is the foundation for this song, man. Like, from a dream, recorded in some dude's house in Florida for $6,000.
That's awesome.
Not even, Scott had no clue it was even going to be a song. He was just writing down the dream.
That's great.
And here we sit.
I'm trying to think. I mean, we'll get into it, but I'm trying to think like if the context of it being from a dream changes anything for me, but not yet.
I feel like you'll know once we start ripping through the lyrics.
If he's like, I'm dreaming. And I never picked up on that line before.
I'm dreaming. Except that's a different song.
Different song.
Yeah. Okay. Let's just, God, I love this song so much. Court is in session. A verdict is in. No appeal on the docket today, just my own sin. The walls are cold and pale, the cage made of steel. Screams fill the room. Alone I drop and kneel.
Okay, let me stop you there. The first thing I think is if we're going literal here, he's in a courtroom and he's been convicted. The verdict, I'm assuming, is a guilty one because what comes immediately after is the fact that he's in a place where the walls are cold and pale, assuming like some sort of confinement.
Yeah, like he's in like one of the Dakotas.
Yeah, or like prison is what I was thinking. No appeal on the docket today. I guess he means he's not going to appeal his verdict. Maybe he doesn't have the funds. Maybe he doesn't have a good defense attorney. Yes. I don't know.
Maybe it was that he didn't hire the right attorney.
Yeah. I mean, he may have been appointed one.
That was the inspiration. That's what fucked his dreams up and made him write this song.
Right. He blew all the money on the $6,000 to record the song.
Should have hired Sweet James. Sweet James Bergner.
Injury attorney.
Sweet James Bergner is an L.A. lawyer who has billboards everywhere.
Everywhere.
And I just love his nickname, Sweet James, man.
It's pretty cool. He's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
That being said, I don't think it's a literal thing, but I think likely it has something to do with the fact that let's just keep going, actually.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay, so moving on. Now that we have established that we do not believe it is literal due to hiring of a shitty defense attorney.
Likely not.
Yep. Into the second verse. Silence now the sound. My breath the only motion around. Demons cluttering around. My face showing no emotion. Shackled by my sentence, expecting no return. Here there is no penance. My skin begins to burn.
Yeah, so the first thing I noticed when looking at the lyrics is that Scott rhymed around with around.
Yeah, you can do that.
You could do that.
Totally do that.
But then I'm thinking that likely his sentence was a life sentence and that there's no escaping this prison. But all that said, since we finished, I guess, what is the first verse, I always thought that this song is not a literal prison, but a prison created within the singer's own mind. Like something that he's done or suffered is he's experiencing within himself, and he can't escape the pain because he's created, I mean, we'll get there, but he's created his own prison because the suffering's all within.
Like, so you feel like it's, because I know what they said about it now, but I always heard this first part of the song, and it's just like, this guy he knows he fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he knows he knows he's screwed, and this is him just like checking the boxes of like, yep, okay, there's no appeal, there's demons, I'm in this cold room, and I am stuck. There is no return.
Yeah.
So if he's accepting responsibility.
Right. I always never thought of it as like something that he's done, but like, I mean, I guess it makes sense because he's on trial, but for some reason I always thought just like the main takeaway I have is just whatever he's suffering through is like self-created. And then like, I always thought like the prison is in his mind. But I guess we'll talk about it, but I guess there's also the possible concept that the prison is just, he created it for himself by failing and fucking up. But I always thought like the prison is something within him.
Dude, the prison is capitalism, okay? That's what we're here to really talk about. Down with the
Psych,
capitalism.
you thought this was about greed?
Yeah. Oh. We're dismantling capitalism, baby.
Okay, so let's try to learn a little more.
Oh, we love capitalism.
And I said, oh, so I held my head up high, hiding hate that burns inside, which only fuels their selfish pride. And I said, oh, all held captive out from the sun, a sun that shines on only some. We the meek are all in one.
Tell me about this one. For you.
This is harder.
Yep.
I think it's him trying to, now looking at it, like remain confident and not succumb to weakness. Because like, for example, if he was like going to jail and being like, oh man, jail sucks, it sucks, they'd all be like, we won. But if he's like, fuck yeah, I'm going to jail, I'm gonna eat so much gruel, it's gonna be great, then it's like, oh fuck, then this whole prison thing doesn't work on him.
Right.
So
he turned it from a prison into a gruel-filled paradise. Right?
It sounds like my kind of paradise.
Just eating lots of gruel and group showers.
So, so in that sense, like he's held captive, but he steps out from the rest of the other captives by having a different sort of mindset and then not losing.
What do you think the line "We the meek are all in one" means?
That one's tough.
I got to be honest. I have thoughts on the rest of it. Like, but the "We the meek are all in one."
Maybe like
all in one what?
All the people that have suffered together are in one
car.
Yeah, one Chevy Chevelle. I think they're all in it together. They're all like everyone experiences this sort of thing.
Okay, so say you like collectively we're doing this together.
That's what I think, but it is tough.
Okay. You ready to get into some religious stuff?
Oh yeah, here we go.
Yeah. I hear a thunder in the distance. See a vision of a cross. I feel the pain that was given on that sad day of loss. A lion roars in the darkness, only he holds the key, a light to free me from my burden and grant me life eternally.
Yeah, so this is where I'm going to need a little bit of your help, likely.
I got you, dog.
I obviously don't know much about the world of Christianity and salvation, but my interpretation of this is just that, like, the thunder in the distance, I guess, is just like sort of like a metaphor for Scott's life, in that, like, he has this like sense of what it means to be a man of faith that like exists within him, but he's not living that life, because he's mentioned that in the past, I know. And then, like, I don't know, when I think he sees, like, he hears a thunder, he feels, or he hears that reminder in his brain that he is a man of faith, and that brings him to see the vision of the cross, which, of course, in his faith is like a symbol of his Christianity. And then I think I feel the pain that was given on the sad day of loss is probably a reference to like feeling the pain of losing Jesus on the day he died. A lion roars in the darkness, only he holds the key. I think the only he holds the key part, I think, is, correct me if I'm wrong, but like a part of the like a part of the an idea of Christianity is that like Jesus holds the key to salvation, and accepting him as your savior is like what brings you to heaven. I don't know what a lion roaring means, but maybe it's just sort of like that call to like that call from the darkness. And then, yeah, like Jesus holds the key to like forgive him for his sins and grant him eternal life, whether that's in heaven or like just enlightenment.
I think you kind of nailed it. To me, this is
pretty good for a Jew.
Very good for a Jew. But to me, like, dude, this is just like straightforward the crucifixion.
Yeah.
Like, the thunder in the distance. I'm trying to remember if there was a storm that day. Or if I'm making that up now because it's in the song. There might have actually been a storm on that day or the night before.
Gotcha.
Jesus was crucified. Then yeah, the cross. I think the lion significance is just, it's the most powerful, like it's king of the jungle. I think if you're equating Jesus to an animal, you're going to pick a powerful, like the king. Jesus was the king.
Right.
That's my association with it. And then yeah, free me from my burden and grant eternal life. That's the crux of the story of the crucifixion.
Gotcha.
To me, this one, there's not a lot of code here.
Yeah.
If you're not familiar with that story, there is, but if you are, there's not a lot of mystery.
Well, what I think, I mean, we'll talk about this more at another time about like Creed being a Christian band, but like what I appreciate about their lyrics, even these ones that are a little more, that don't really, they're pretty literal in some sense. But as someone who's not a Christian, I never felt like isolated from this song, because I still think that there are, just like a general the sentiments within the song and the pain that we all feel and stuff like that is very universal. So
Yeah.
I think it's cool. I mean, like, I think it's cool that he's able to sing about things that sing and write about things that are obviously very important to him, like in his faith, without like only it being for people of his faith. Because I know a lot of times it can feel isolating when you're like listening to something that's made for like a certain demographic or whatever. But I do think the lyrics are for the most part pretty universal.
Dude, I tried listening to Kids Bop,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, I don't understand it. But then I realized like it's not for me. So
Yeah.
like I get what you're saying.
Yeah. Because you're not a kid.
I'm not a kid, and
Yeah.
I never was.
There you go.
I never was a kid.
Wait,
Never was a kid, dude.
you were just born a man?
I was hatched as an adult.
That's sick.
I'm a science experiment gone right.
Well, we'll see how right you are. Oh, okay. Now this makes way more sense, I think.
Okay, I do feel like that verse is, to me, it's a hopeful verse, and it's really the only hopeful part of the song, unless I'm forgetting something. Well, but to me, like I had this marked in my notes as like hope.
Yeah.
The time in the song where we only see hope, because it's like that's, even though it's a tragic day he's recounting, it's, for Christians, as kind of fucked up as it is, that's a day that was celebrated.
Eventually.
Yeah, eventually.
Right.
Um,
Well, that makes the next part of the song make way more sense to me. And I literally always thought, like, what the hell does this mean?
I'll read it and you can tell me what you think.
Okay.
It means. Should have been dead on a Sunday morning, banging my head. No time for mourning, ain't got no time. And then it repeats.
Did Jesus die on a Sunday? Or undocumented?
I don't remember.
Okay. Well, if you don't know, I don't know.
I feel like I did know at some point.
Easter's always, no, that's the day of resurrection though, right? Yeah, so he should have been dead on that Sunday, but he rose from the dead, right? Because isn't Easter always on a Sunday?
It is. I know that.
Okay.
Because it's called Easter Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, that's the only reason I know it. But yeah, that's what, now I've always like had no idea what this lyric meant, but now it's like, yeah, now I'm thinking like Jesus, he should have been dead on that Sunday morning, and like we should have all been mourning and banging our head and fucking, panicking, but there's no time for that because he hath risen.
Because they're looking for him? You're right. It was Sunday morning because Good Friday is the day he was crucified. So then Friday, Saturday, Sunday was the third day. It wasn't really a full 3 days because he was gone the morning of
We don't know
Sunday.
the time.
We do.
Oh, okay.
He was gone the morning. He was gone the morning, Sunday morning.
Gotcha.
So that's what he's saying. Should have been dead on a Sunday morning. So they say he was dead for 3 days, but like they're rounding up.
I'm not going to tell anybody.
I have an issue with it.
Okay.
I strive for historical accuracy at all points of my life.
Who can you contact about revising the Bible? Joel Osteen?
Yes, Joel Osteen. Dude. Oh, no.
That makes way more sense to me though. Like I've legitimately like always been like, why is he talking about Sunday morning? And now having gone through the lyrics, I'm like, oh, it's about the big man JC.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So most of the rest of the song, save for this very next part, is just repetition of existing lyrics.
Right.
So this last part is really the final unique part. It's the bridge into the last chorus. And it goes something like, I cry out to God, seeking only his decision. Gabriel stands and confirms I've created my own prison. And then it repeats.
Okay. I know this one.
It's not a quiz. Just you're good.
Teacher, I know.
Andrew, go ahead.
Okay. So, if I understand correctly, you're judged when you die. About whether or not
I haven't died. I don't know.
Okay. About whether or not you're qualified for heaven. Mm-hmm. Whether your resume stands on its own. I know Gabriel's an angel, and I never knew that's what he was saying in this song, actually.
What do you think he was saying?
You don't.
No, I do want to know.
It's like seeking only his decision. I thought he said like they've stand and confirm. Well, no, did you say that?
Gabriel stand.
I
It's
didn't.
because he says it, Gabriel.
Yeah.
It's like it's a 2-syllable word in the song.
I think maybe I saw like they
Gabriel.
stands and confirms.
You're dumb,
I know.
dude. You're not getting into heaven
That's okay.
because knowing that needed to be on your resume.
Well, let's not get into that.
Suck it.
My resume is much different. Anyway, Gabriel I know is an angel.
Yep.
I don't know his role exactly, but I'm assuming that he has something to say about whether or not you're a good person or whether or not your resume qualifies you for entry to heaven.
Here's what I know about Gabriel. He plays the horn. This is true.
I think,
Or
that sounds
a
right.
trumpet. Okay. Those are basically those are the same instrument.
They're horns.
Yeah. But I don't know his role, but Scott did.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I think he stood up and confirmed that, hey, God, this guy, he's created his own prison. He's not qualified for heaven, which is why I'm starting to think maybe his own prison is hell.
You think he's saying he's in hell?
Now I do a little bit,
Okay.
because he standed and confirmed he's created his own prison.
That would be an interesting thing to say if you were going to heaven, wouldn't it?
Creating
Like,
your own
why would you
prison.
be crying out to God about, and why would Gabriel be like, yeah, you did this, buddy. Get on in there, man. There's a pillow fight.
There's a pool with scuba jets.
Instead, he's in hell drinking tap water out of an empty Diet Dr. Pepper bottle. Or whatever.
That is a pretty good
They make you
description of
do
hell.
down
I like that. I was gonna say like
wearing underwear so long that it grafts to your skin.
that's a bad one.
Yeah.
Or like just having mosquitoes fly around, but instead of biting you, I got nothing.
Yeah.
No, you know what it is? Sleeping in a room that's just too hot and muggy.
It's not terrible.
That's bad.
I'm a little uncomfortable, but
That's my hell, bro.
I do. Okay, so as I mentioned, then we go back into the chorus. There's lots of like Mark singing underneath while Scott's singing on top. I do want to know your opinion on, because the outro, right? This song has been kind of seemingly the words have been building to a conclusion, right?
Right?
Like from going to court is in session, the verdict is in. It's like to what we just went to, the bridge about like, yep, I cried to God, only his decision. I've created my own prison. The whole thing feels like we've come to a resolution on this, even if it's bad, even if he's in hell. At the very end of the song, during the outro, we hear again, should have been dead on a Sunday morning, banging my head, no time for morning, ain't got no time. And that's how it ends.
Mm-hmm.
Which to me feels kind of like he's opening, like he wrapped the present and then he's just like undoing some of the tape. Like, you figure it out. Do you have a thought on that?
Yeah, so he's like saying, I created my own prison a million times. And then he's saying, should have been dead on a Sunday morning.
Which harkens back to the crucifixion
Right.
Verse of the song.
I don't know. I don't see it that way. I guess I just see it more as like it's a reminder of that he wasn't, that like the crucifixion happened and it was like, a good thing. Where am I going with this?
I have no fucking clue, dude. But finish that thought or else you're going to sleep warm tonight if you don't.
I think he's just hearkening back to that moment of like fulfillment that he felt, and just like the celebration of Jesus. Like he should have been dead on a Sunday morning, but he's not. He's revived, and he's given us the key to salvation. So yeah, I don't know if it's unwrapping that present.
Okay. I thought it was unwrapping the present.
Maybe a little bit.
Just like not fully, but just like flicking open the end, you know?
Well, I guess in a way, yeah, everything is uncertain. So
Everything's uncircumcised.
exactly.
Would you like to know some facts about the song from the band themselves?
Yeah, I would.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay. If you hear these, you're going to hell.
Okay.
Is there hell?
Nothing.
Should we have an episode about that?
Yeah, just dueling faiths.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's not really a duel. It's just discussion
I
of
have faith in myself, man.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah, bruh. Okay. We already know that this came to Scott in a dream.
Right.
This is inspired by a dream. According to Scott, he was questioning his Christian faith at the time.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yep. And he says that the prison he speaks of was his own mind.
That's what I said, dude. That's what I said.
I didn't want to spoil it for you. So his dad was a minister.
Right.
And so, yeah, his prison was his brain.
I love
the conflict in there. Nice work.
Thanks. I mean,
Put that on your resume for heaven.
That's on my resume, God.
Hell yeah. No, hell yeah. Hell yeah, heaven. Specifically, Scott said the song was about him realizing that he, quote, couldn't blame others for the walls constricting my life. My own prison was the consequences for my bad decisions. It was my own fault I did shitty in school, that I got fired from my job, that I was living in my car. I had to grow up, end quote.
Okay, so that's kind of like what you said earlier. It feels like those own decisions were like physical things that he had actually done.
Yeah, and I've kind of always thought that just from the verbiage of I've created my own prison. Like he's owning it, man. He's not saying like I'm in a prison or
that's true.
Like I'm stuck here. He's like, dude, I created it. It's mine.
Right.
Mine. Scott also stated that his religious upbringing played a huge part in inspiring him to turn it into a song.
Mm-hmm.
He said that he felt immense guilt from not measuring up to the God that he was shown by his father, and then more guilt from his subsequent rebellious phase that he went through as a teenager.
Yeah.
So it's like the classic, like, I think my dad was not a minister, but I did grow up in church.
Yeah.
And I think it's super classic to have like that rebellious phase.
For sure.
You know, like I'm still in it.
I also think there's that, especially, I guess not really, I think it's like universal with a lot of religions, but especially for those families, I guess, that did grow up pretty observant of their respective religion. I think there's a lot of pressure and guilt to also be an observant person.
Oh, dude. Like,
regardless of,
I think guilt is super associated with religion.
Yeah.
Like, religion to me at least was like I think there's lots of great stuff that you can take, like lots of good rules and guidelines, but also just like the guilt, man, the list of like no, don't do this, don't do that. So then anytime you do one of those things, you're like, oh man, shut up, dude. One thing that I thought, this is not from the band, this is me. This is my like conspiracy theory, numerology stuff. Technically it's verse 3, where, why did I do an air quote with one hand? It's verse 3, where it's the crucifixion stuff, the kind of the hopeful part of the song. I think it's interesting that with all the Christian themes, it's verse 3, because 3 is significant in Christianity. The third day is when Jesus rose from the dead.
Right.
There's the Holy Trinity, 3, Father, Son, Holy Ghost.
Right.
Jesus died at age 33.
That's how old I am.
Don't die.
Am I Jesus?
And
I'm Jewish.
I don't know if it's intentional that was like the third verse, the third day, like, but it's interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting. It could be.
It's at minimal ironic given the heavy Christian overtones of that verse.
And at bare minimum, it's a thing.
All that makes me really curious about hidden things in their music, because in Ode, there's that like spoken part that you can't really understand, and that
Right.
there's no like definitive answer of what it says, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's people who have opinions, but I don't know. It's something I'm gonna be looking out for as we keep moving through. It's like, what are you hiding?
Keep those conspiracy eyes.
What are they
open.
hiding in there? There's Easter eggs, man. To me, then I'll kick this back to you. This song, just like overall the meaning to me, I found there's several themes in here.
Mm.
One is we open with him coming to grips with like, time to stop blaming others. Like, I fucked my own life up.
Right.
I did it. I think we also touch on repentance.
Mm-hmm.
And even the fact that there is that verse 3 of the crucifixion and resurrection, I think is acceptance that there could be a brighter future, even though it might not be his future. Because he's still, in the end, again, saying, like, I've created my own prison. He repeats that over and over. But I do think there's that verse in there of, like, this is hopeful, man. Like, this is, because that story to Christians is a hopeful story.
After Jesus came back to life, did he just like keep hanging out?
I think he lived for like 30 more days.
That's it?
And then ascended, I think.
Dang.
He just wanted to chill, man.
I
never
know? I don't know.
I think
That's wild.
he wanted to go to like Stagecoach or
Yeah.
get tickets to Stagecoach. He's
Sorry.
like, I ain't missing that. Isn't Stagecoach in April? Or no, it's Coachella? No.
I don't know. In May?
I don't know. He had tickets. He had tickets to some festival.
Sorry,
bro.
guys. I got tickets to Stagecoach. I got to
I
go.
was like, look at these wristbands, bro.
They're all up in
I
heaven,
gotta get down there.
Heaven's where we got stereos and stuff. That's my Jesus impression.
That's pretty good, dude. That's actually from the conversation with him that I had. That's how I remember him sounding.
Nice.
Yeah. What were you saying just then?
I was asking about Jesus like hanging out because you mentioned that even though his fate was sealed, I guess that you thought there was still like a hopefulness for other people, which is kind of what Jesus feels like. Like his fate is sealed, but like by dying, he gives hopefulness to his followers.
And by Scott including verse 3, he's giving hope to his followers.
The creed heads.
The crededs.
The Creedonians.
The Credites.
Right.
But all that is even like another layer of that is like the Scott as Jesus.
Yeah.
The arms spread open, like similar, making the shape of a cross.
Right. Which we'll get into more, I think, as they continue to grow as a band.
And as our faith continues to grow.
Well,
I would like for you to please, if you could, score this song on a scale of 1 to 5. Yes. Be careful.
Yeah.
Be careful. This is a big moment because this is the first like kind of mega hit that we've covered, but we've also got a lot of songs to go.
I think I know where I land.
Don't blow your whole load.
So like I said earlier, this is a song that I think is very representative of who Creed is, both lyrically, sound-wise. What I like about it, too, is that it starts with that like slow sort of build and then ends with some fiery, passionate lyrics. I think I got to go with 4.0 yes.
Okay.
I think it's one of my favorites on this album and one of my favorite Creed songs. So like, I know there's maybe only like a few that'll top it. I don't think you can go below 4 for me.
Yeah. Then don't.
Okay, I didn't.
Let me. don't get attitude with me.
Sorry.
I'm gonna agree with you that I can't go lower than a 4 on this.
Ooh.
And in fact, I have to give it a little over a 4.
Wow.
Just because the sentimental fact for me.
Yeah.
That this was the first song I heard it. I heard it like as it was being released as a single on the radio.
That's right.
Like this was like in the moment when this is their breakthrough for me
sure.
and just their breakthrough in general. So I'm gonna give it a 4.25.
4.25. Wow.
With the 0.25 being that sentimentality bump.
For sure. Well, this is our first song that I think has reached above 4s collectively. That's a big moment.
You know what we need to do?
What do we need to do?
We should be tracking and noting and maybe revisiting the scores of our other songs.
Well, we're only 3 episodes deep, so it's not that hard.
But I mean, so we know what current leader, what's the lowest ranked one.
Right. Yeah, we'll do that.
Okay, I love that.
Well, I think that's about everything. That's all she wrote for today.
Yeah.
All he wrote, Scott Stapp.
Oh, I thought you were talking about God.
Him too. Yeah. Or her.
Or her.
Like Dishwalla says.
Yeah. Oh, dude. Sorry. I was listening to Dishwalla the other day.
Really?
I actually introduced someone to Dishwalla recently who'd never heard them.
I've only really heard the one song, but
I got some others I'll send you.
Okay, cool. I'm cognizant of that. We should probably
check out our Dishwalla podcast.
It's coming soon.
Coming soon. We go
it's
through
called
every Dishwalla.
Counting Only Blue Pods.
Pretty good.
That was pretty good.
Pretty good. That's off the cuff. That's off the fucking cuff.
Anyway, Reid, great episode, great song, great times.
Great song.
With all that said, I think it's time we make our escape. For my own podcast.
To Chili's? Can we make our escape to Chili's?
I'm going to take this again.
Okay, go again.
Well, Reid, with this episode done, I think it's time that we make our escape
to Chili's.
This has been my own podcast. I'm Andrew Colin.
I'm Reid Fenlaw.
See ya.
At Chili's. Sponsors, please.